Gentlemen of the press, good afternoon. The Federal Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development presented a memo today on our revised 2022 National Agricultural Seed Policy. Before now, we have been operating on the 2010 policy, which was revised in 2015, and we just also revised that again to the 2022. Why for the revision? For seeds, what you plant is what you reap. With the current continuous development in technology, seeds are always being upgraded, standardized, fortified with several vitamins. There's also the issue of genetically modified organisms, or seeds, if you will. So this revision seeks to conform with global best practice in yield. Our farmers must have access to best quality seed that have been fortified, seed that can produce the yield that will be worth their while, seeds that can produce, again, the produce that can compete in the world market. This is the basis for this particular policy. The implementing agency is the National Agricultural Seed Council, of course, of Nigeria. We work with that. The same agency works with the department within the ministry, also work with other agencies and MDAs that are also involved in some ways with agriculture. We work with civil society organizations, international agencies. Nigeria every year holds summit that we call Seed Connect. This is an international summit that discusses and focuses on improvement, development in seeds from around the globe. So seeds is really very important, very critical. As you all know, the agri sector forms a great part of the GDP of this country. And of that, we focus on smallholder farmers. Someone will wonder, how do they get good quality seed? We make sure they are priority. We distribute good quality seeds to them free. We make sure any seed that is coming into the country also is subjected to the standardization. We have a system that is called Codex, and we make sure all seeds that will be taken to the market have this Codex. They have gone through our screening. And this is the purpose of this policy, to make better seeds and to achieve food security. Unless you have good yielding seeds, you will not be able to achieve the food security you want. And Nigeria, with 200 million people plus and counting, we need to make sure we're on top of our game in terms of the quality of seeds of any kind of produce in this country. Thank you.
Distinguished members of the press, what was presented today by the Office of the Attorney General and Minister of Justice was a council memo at the instance of the NDLEA, National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency. As you are aware, there has been renewed and sustained onslaught against drug cartels and barons over time. Within the 3 quarters of 2023, about 18,940 arrests were effected by the NDLEA, and indeed, drugs, the estimated value of which is over 40 billion naira, were confiscated. Again, about 2,904 convictions were recorded. These successes that were recorded, unfortunately, translated to unprecedented threats and attacks on personnel, officers, men, and other ranks of the agency. And then the need has arisen for the federal government to consider the possibility of taking security measures that will now provide the desired protection to the officers and men of the agency or commission. So with that in mind, what was presented before the Federal Executive Council today is a memo seeking approval for the award of contracts for the construction of barracks accommodation for personnel of the Drug Law Enforcement Agency. Accordingly, 2 contracts were awarded, and the companies that were involved that were awarded the contracts were with Chino Engineering Limited. It was awarded the contract for the construction of accommodation for narcotics superintendent and narcotic assistant blocks, each consisting 6 numbers of 3-bedroom semi-detached flats, 12 flats and 5 blocks, each consisting 16 number 1-bedroom terraces flats, 80 flats, total 92 flats at the cost of 2,267,785,450 naira 83 kobo. And the second contract was awarded to JP Sigma Nigeria Limited in the sum of 2,889,480,320 naira 55 kobo, and they were to construct accommodation for narcotics superintendents and narcotics agents, 2 blocks, each consisting 6 numbers, 3-bedroom, semi-detached, flats, 12 flats, and 11 blocks, each consisting 8 numbers, 2-bedroom, semi-detached flats, 89 flats, total 12 plus 88, which makes 100 flats. So the council memo was taken, and it was accordingly approved by the council. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the press, good afternoon. The Federal Ministry of Transportation this afternoon presented 2 memoranda to Council on behalf of 2 of its agencies. The first agency was the Nigerian Ports Authority, which sought to provide for the award of contract for the construction and supply of 4 customized fire service search and rescue vans for extrication of accident victims for Rivers Ports, Port Harcourt, Lagos Port Complex, Tinkan Island Port, and the Marina Headquarters, all in Lagos. Council considered the memorandum and approved the award of the contract as recommended and reviewed by the Bureau of Public Procurement in the sum of 510,934,000 naira 600. I take it again. 510,934,600 naira, inclusive of 7.5% VAT, and with a completion period of 9 months in favor of Messrs. All Works Commercial Company Limited. The second memorandum presented by the ministry is on behalf of the ministry itself, but for the ultimate management by the Nigerian Railway Corporation. The memorandum sought Council consideration and approval for the award of contract for the procurement of rolling stock, operation and maintenance equipment for the Kano Maradi standard gauge rail line that is currently under construction. The contract was awarded to Messrs. Motor Angel Nigeria Limited, who are the contractors handling this particular project, and the sum of $984,722,302.05, inclusive of 7.5% VAT, with a completion period of 4 years. Thank you.
We have questions for the Minister of Agriculture, because there's another meeting.
Well, I usually say GMOs, genetically modified organisms, are here to stay. Now, the critical aspect of that is differentiating from those that you have enough data, enough information that are safe, to those that you need to check and double check. And for that, we have agencies that are saddled with the responsibility to do just that. And we have our own unit also in the ministry. You have in the Ministry of Environment, you have the National Biosafety Agency, and also in Science and Technology also, you have also the same national, some kind of bio agency anyway. So there are two separate agencies. And then in our ministry also we have a unit. GMOs by themselves are made to, one, increase yield, increase this, that, and that. But we try to avoid which one that are not subjected to thorough investigation, thorough research. Now, incidentally, in the ministry we have several institutions that are involved in research for standardization of seeds, our own agencies, and we depend on those more than any. We regulate even bringing in modified seed, genetically modified from outside the country. How much of it is brought, even if it's going to be subjected to the rigors of investigation. So we are very much aware of that. And which is one of the reasons why a lot of people today are talking about organic, and it's gaining ground, first from outside Nigeria, international community, and then today here. So GMOs are things that are here, but the main important thing is making sure that we know which GMOs and which ones even we allow into the country. There are certain that we don't even allow. And our own agency do what it takes to modify our own seeds. What I mean by modify, fortify them with, for example, vitamin A and some other vitamins here locally, because we have the capacity to do that. So we are not dependent on improved seed coming from outside. In fact, we regulate so much what seeds are coming in. Nigeria, like I mentioned, we have this summit every year. It's called Seed Connect. An international participant come in to look at the issue of seed. Is very, very important. How much food you get depends on the kind of seeds you plant. Have I answered your question? Okay. Well, that is something that is still under consideration. We have not really finished the specifics yet, how much is coming into Nigeria from Russia. Nigeria has been dealing with Russia and with Ukraine. If we are talking about these two countries that are at conflict currently, they have been our trading partners in wheat, fertilizer, and perhaps some other agricultural equipment and inputs. And currently that is ongoing. I cannot tell you how much of that and how much of this. But I can add something you didn't even ask. Ukraine is sending in grains to Nigeria and wants to open a hub. This is probably still news, just to buttress what you are talking about. Russia is extending the same hand. Now, incidentally, Nigeria has always maintained this kind of neutrality, if you will. We are free to trade, to deal, and work with countries across the sphere. So this is ongoing. When it becomes available, how much we are buying, or if they are given any, the United Nations is part of it. The same thing with that of Ukraine. World Food Program is also the one that is kind of the go-between between Nigeria and Ukraine. And the same thing with Russia. UN also is in the know. So it's ongoing. Wheat. Yeah, about 25,000 metric tons. I think that of Ukraine is probably on the sea already coming. This is something that we actually had discussed with a lot of the press, first in the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I was there, the Minister of Foreign Affairs was there, the Ukrainian minister was there, and the ambassador. So it's really on the sea already. And that of Ukraine will open a hub in, I think we're giving them somewhere in Port Harcourt, where this grain will be delivered to, and it will become a hub where perhaps some business trading might take place. I think it's a place for Nigeria that African countries can be coming to that hub for business. So that is something that we are looking forward to.
What about the one from Russia?
Russia is potash. Potash is a precursor of fertilizer to make fertilizer. So that is not really grains. And we do have a lot of fertilizer blending plants. We need the raw materials, and potash is one of them, not the only thing. So we will need that. Even though, let me say, we do have potash deposit here. When this whole thing started with Ukraine and Russia, we started looking inward to see whether we have deposit of some of these things. And incidentally, we do have deposit of potash in some parts of the country. Did I say what? Huh? I don't know. I don't know yet.
And I wouldn't like to repeat because I am not with the memo again. So perhaps maybe try to get sense out of the submissions earlier on made in that regard. Yes, the timeline is 60 weeks, I believe. The contractors who I mentioned in my earlier submission, please. Sorry? Oh, okay.
What briefing do you want, specifically? Pardon? No, there is no update from the previous submission we made. We're still trying to conclude. You know, I told you about the concessions. We would rather package a well-packaged concession for the rail corridors rather than go for procurement, because that will give us not only quality assurance, but also it will be like shared responsibility. So the burden is not just on government, but on the private entity that will also be the beneficiary of the concession for a number of years. Very soon, hopefully, we'll come to council for consideration and approval, and I'm looking forward to the day when I will sit here before you very soon and tell you that, yes, we have done it. Thank you. Well, have you heard of any incident? When last did you hear of any incident? I believe the corridors are safer than they were before. Thank you.